Satnam and aloha, and I'm so happy to be really rounding out this series of the evolution spiral of spirituality. I started with stage 5, cocooning. I started with stage 5 because even though it's the last stage of the evolution spiral, it's also the beginning, really, for the next time through. It doesn't stop. So, while maybe we start with curiosity, go through discovery, move through growth, come into expansion, which I'll talk about today, and then inevitably go back into our cocoon, we always come back out with curiosity. So, tell me which stage you think you're in now. That is the most okay place to be, is whatever stage you're in right now. You are moving through the spiral with grace, with love, with care. I know it. You're moving through this spiral empowered, and you're empowering yourself as you move through. It's so exciting. So let's talk about expansion now, since it is stage 4 and the 5th and final episode in this series. As always, I'll kind of share my own story, and I'm actually going to fast forward to now, because I am in another expansion stage as we speak, and I can speak to the feelings that happen, and I can speak to the trap, which inevitably will show up in some form, one way or another, at some point in each of the stages. So the last time I talked about growth and I talked about my time in Ashland. Well, after that, I moved to Hawaii, I moved to Oahu, and I really cocooned for a long time. I was in a cave, I call it, for a few years almost. And then I started to come back out, and I started with things that I love. I started to play music in yoga classes and started to record some more music. I started to teach Kundalini yoga. I started to become a leader again and created a group of amazing and powerful souls to join together to step into their leadership in Club LC. I worked through a lot of old patterns and old stories that didn't serve me anymore. And I kept shifting and shifting and shifting, and I went through the spiral a few times, and now here I am back at the expansion stage, and this cycle through the spiral was very fast. I was cocooning in July, and it's December now as I speak. As you can see if you're watching the video, I've got my Christmas tree behind me. And yeah, I'm already in expansion stage in a big way, and actually the biggest way I've ever been. So, what happened? Well, I made a conscious choice this time, when I was starting to put myself out there again, about 2 years ago, that this time I would not quit. I would not cocoon indefinitely this time. I had done that before. It never worked because what I'd wanted never came. So this time I said, I will not stop. I will pause when I need to pause, of course. I will not quit. And I haven't quit. And I'm not gonna. Because I believe in what I do. And that is so key. For anything in life, believe in what you are doing. Believe in you. Believe in the universe. Believe in the power of energy and manifestation, and it will see you through. Yogi Bhajan said, keep up and you will be kept up. That is what he meant. Believe. Keep the faith. Keep going. Don't quit. And you will be kept up. The only difference between somebody who succeeds at their dreams and somebody who doesn't is that the person who succeeds didn't quit before they got there. Everyone else quit before they got there. And let me tell you what, it is really tempting to quit. It is so tempting. Because when you're in expansion stage, and let me back up and tell you what I mean by myself being in expansion stage right now. I have Club LC going. I recently shifted the way I did it. And I have a group online that I really wanted to gather leaders together, gather people who are following their own path. Now, if you're following your own path, you're a leader, whether you know it or not, whether you have followers or not, you're a leader. And my intention was to really give people the space to step into their leadership, as I have been stepping into mine. It wasn't really doing what I wanted it to do. It wasn't doing what the vision I had for it was. I correlated it with my podcast. And it turns out my podcast was no longer really doing what I had intended it to do, at least internally for me. It felt not quite aligned. And it's because I settled on a name that was good enough. And I think that's super important to do and to continue. Because if I hadn't settled on a name that was good enough, Light of Conscience, which is an awesome name, but it never felt quite like the right one. I always had a vague sense of conscience is too tough of a word. It's too close to consciousness. People will get confused. No one really uses the word conscience, even though, boy, do we need it these days. And I just thought, well, this is what I like right now and I'm going to do it. And I went for it. And that's so important. Because had I never gone for that, I'd never be where I am today. So don't take those little steps along the way that aren't quite right as wrong, because they're not wrong. Okay? That's a really important point that I want to make. But I was really looking at who I serve and what their story is, what their feeling about themselves is. And I knew it wasn't really Light of Conscience. I knew it was empowerment. It was leading the way. It was being who they are, living life on their own terms. And in order to do all of that, you've got to commit. You've got to be dedicated to following your own path. Well, in order to do that, you need to know what your path is. In order to know what your path is, you've got to know who you are. You've got to know what gifts you came in with. You've got to know where why you've been through what you've been through, and put it all together. So in my expansion this time around, what I've started doing is something that I started 10 years ago. And I worked with this numerology that I learned in Kundalini Yoga that corresponds to the 10 bodies, which I've been talking about throughout this series. And I realized I was really, really missing out and overlooking an important opportunity to share this knowledge, to share this tool of knowing yourself better, of remembering your powers, of gaining the confidence to step into who you really are, and to share that with the world. So I created life purpose maps, and I have seen incredible results with people incredibly quickly. As I mentioned, it's numerology. I've had a numerology reading before where, the practitioner printed out a lot of pages, 15, 20 or so, and went through the numbers in my birth date and in my name and told me all about it. And I've done nothing with it since because it's not actionable. But the life purpose map is. It is so actionable in really beautiful ways because your birthday, decoded, is a map to your path and your purpose in life. That's why I call it the life purpose map. So that's one thing that I've put out, and it's incredible. I'm also talking more about Club LC because of the beauty and the radiance and the expansion and the growth and the self-love that is coming through from all of the participants in it. It is not just like your typical, I'm going to sign up for this and not get anything out of it because either I'm not doing it or I already know the stuff. This is a really, really elite group of souls who are here to lead, who are here to step into their powers, and who are, again, committed to making the difference they're here to make in the world. And so as I have been putting that out more, I'm, again, stepping more into my leadership, my expansion, and so are those who are with me in this journey. It's a beautiful process. When we step forward into our own purpose, others step forward into theirs along with us. Awesome. Last thing I'll say about this expansion stage is that I decided to change the name, Light of Conscience, of my group to Empowered Leaders Circle, because that defines the people in the community. They're empowered, they're leaders, and this is a circle. We're together, we're there to connect with each other. No one is in this alone. So how can we serve each other? I'd love for you to join it. Just search Empowered Leaders Circle. It's a group on Facebook. And I haven't changed the URL yet because at Light of Conscience, groups/Light of Conscience is everywhere. So for now, it still is facebook.com/groups/Light of Conscience. But that will change probably in January or February. So just search Empowered Leaders Circle on Facebook. And please join us. It would be amazing to connect with you and to circle up and see what amazing things we can do. Let's connect this in. When you're in expansion stage, the number in your life purpose map that's going to really be important for you to keep reminded of is your destiny number. Your destiny number shows something, reveals something that you have mastered through many lifetimes. So mine is the 2. I was born in 1982, and that's how you figure out your destiny number. It's the full year of your birth, all added together. And 2 is the negative mind. And the negative mind is about boundaries, very important. It is about connecting to your God self, and it is about kind of like one-on-one relationships as well, relating to your external space. It's about order, keeping peace and order, and that even includes organization of details and things like that. So, yes, as I've been expanding and putting myself out there and stepping out more, I've been very mindful about keeping my boundaries with myself. Maybe I'm saying no more than I usually do to things because they're not exactly aligned with what I'm putting out there. But also making sure I have systems in place for everything that I'm putting out so that I don't get lost in like this unorganized mess. I do not like to be unorganized. So that's huge. Stay organized. Yeah. Before I talk about your numbers, I want to tell you about the trap. of the expansion stage, which is ego. Ego shows up in one of two ways, but it stems from kind of the same fear of, I'm not good enough, like nobody is gonna believe this, or I don't know if this is accurate, am I being 100% true? And the first way that it'll show up, and this is really more rare, but it does show up in some people, where it shows up as in a very inflated self-importance. Let's say it that way. So you feel like the world would just collapse without you. You know everything, and everyone else is stupid. The way you express is very, it's like you're having to prove that you are the best thing that ever happened in the world. And while that may just look like you're an ass, it probably stems from a very deep-seated insecurity. We know arrogant people, and most of them are actually deep down insecure. For the rest of us, this insecurity shows up through our ego in a much different way. And at times a much more painful way. It will show up as the voice that says, this is not possible for me. I suck. I don't know what I'm talking about. People are going to judge me. I'm going to fail. There's no chance I'll succeed. That's the way the ego talks to most of us. So, a few days ago, as I record this, that happened to me. And I knew what was happening, which helped. It helps when you know what's happening, but it didn't make me feel any better. I felt like I should just give up. I should just quit. I knew I wasn't going to, because I made that agreement with myself, and I wasn't going to break that agreement. But I felt like, why am I doing what I'm doing? It's pointless. There have been times in my life where I have felt like I just want to end it. This sucks. I don't want to be here anymore. I never did, obviously. Here I am. But I have to say that the feelings that I was feeling this past week never gave me that sense at all. I didn't want to end my life or anything like that, but it felt even worse. It was strange. Luckily, I was courageous enough to reach out and just tell a couple of friends that I'm not doing good right now. I understand that we're all here together, and we're in this together, and we're here for each other. So I hope this inspires you to reach out if you're feeling those insecurities come up, those horrible feelings, because we are all in this together, and your friends do want to help you. So reach out to somebody. If you don't have somebody that you feel you can reach out to, join the Empowered Leaders Circle, because we are there. We understand that living a different path is hard. Okay? All right. And by the way, I got through that, and then the expansion was even greater and faster. It's crazy amazing how quickly things shifted, and how much more came in after I reached out. So let's go through the destiny number. Remember, this is the 4 digits of the year you were born added together. And if that number is between 1 and 11, keep it. If it's larger than 11, add those 2 numbers together until you get to something between 1 and 11. I will also cover 22 because it does have some significance, but it is also a 4. So if your numbers equal 22, pay attention to the 4, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about the 22. So if your numbers all add up to 1 in the destiny position, honestly, don't know how that would happen unless you were born in the year 1000. But it's happened in history, so let's cover it. This is somebody who has mastered their creative flow in many lifetimes, their originality. This is somebody who will always bring a new idea to the table. So if anybody knows anybody who's in one destiny, maybe you can connect with spirits, you know what I mean? Find somebody born in the year 1000. Connect with them. Get them on your team. Yeah. Allow yourself to use that creative genius in all of your endeavors. If your destiny number is a 2, you've mastered the negative mind in many lifetimes. I mentioned before mine is, I was 1982, so that means my numbers all add up to 20. So yes, I am very good at organization. I'm grounded. I am pretty strong as far as knowing what I want. And once I really stepped into the power of my negative mind, I stopped putting myself into situations that I knew weren't the best or that weren't healthy. And so when you are expanding as the 1, you'll want to continue to use that originality and creativity. As the 2, you're going to want to continue to use your organization and ability to create a peaceful environment support you in expansion, because expanding can get overwhelming. That's why we cocoon. If your destiny number is 3, that is really about seeing all the possibilities. So expansion is a really exciting time for a 3. You bring cheer, you bring the sunlight, you bring the sunshine into what you do. And continue to do that and continue to see opportunities, because as we expand, some things aren't going to work like we think. So just keep thinking about all those opportunities and what's next and how can I do this differently, because you'll find that things come to you, ideas come to you, possibly a little easier than others because you have the outlook of anything is possible. If your destiny number is 4, you have been a yogi in many lifetimes. This is awesome, because as you're expanding, you're going to be looking at things as the observer and from a more neutral perspective. So keep that in mind, that as you get excited, because when you're expanding, it's easy to get excited and, emotional in like a joyful way. Or if your ego comes up, could be a not joyful way. But that meditative mind, that yogi in you, is going to be able to separate you from all that's going on. So you get a really, really neutral picture. And then you'll know how to best serve yourself and all others. If your gift is a 5, that's the physical body, and you've been a teacher in many lifetimes. It's probably really hard for you not to teach because it's what you know. So as you're expanding, allow yourself to share what you're learning and what you know, and do it in a balanced way. Check your ego, make sure that you are stepping into that neutrality of your neutral mind. Remember, yes, we have these numbers in the different positions on our map, but we all have all 10 bodies that these numbers correspond to. So if you hear something for a number that's not even in your map that resonates with you, well, that makes sense because you have that body and you can develop all of them. In fact, it's really our responsibility to develop all of these bodies and use them for the highest good of all. So back to 5, just to round that out, as you're teaching, keep your life balanced. It will serve you very well to do so. Don't neglect your physical body, okay? I've heard so many stories of spiritual teachers who overwork and overrun themselves and they don't take care of themselves. Let's move on to 6. That's the arc line. And that is really your power of projection. That is your ability to manifest what it is that you want. How wonderful is it that you've spent lifetimes developing this power? So as you're expanding, keep yourself in check in that way. Make sure what you're manifesting is what you really want to manifest for the highest good of all. If your number is 7, that's the aura, and that is your containment, your ability to have mercy for others. You're a sensitive soul. So as you're expanding, make sure you stay contained with your own being. You'll want to make sure you keep your aura strong. You've developed this in many lifetimes, so you know what to do. Okay? Do the things that you're doing with the intention of elevating others. It comes naturally to you, so that's pretty cool. If your destiny number is 8, that is your pranic body. That is your fearlessness and connection with all the life force. May the force be with you is really embodied in the pranic body. So you're a great asset to have on a team because you've mastered this ability to harness the life force energy. You're an excellent planner and you're awesome at seeing projects through to the end. You have the energy, you know you have what it takes. Very, very awesome. As you're expanding, keep in mind how powerful and how fearless you are, and keep up with your breath so you can see through all of your projects. If your destiny number is 9, which is the subtle body, this is the body of mastery. So you've mastered mastery in many lifetimes. You've come into your knowing. I think of self-mastery as a self-knowing. As you're expanding, continue to see the small details that most people overlook because the forest is growing so much. They just want to see the forest. You got to keep your eyes on the trees. That's going to really help you stay centered and balanced and in your knowing as you expand and grow even more. If your destiny number is 10, that's the radiant body. You have mastered royal courage and developed it through many lifetimes. Royal courage, leadership. People see you as a leader. They're kind of automatically drawn to you for your brilliance, for your radiance, for your shine. As you're expanding, just keep that in mind, that you've mastered this, so you don't have to be afraid of your shine. Keep your intentions for the highest good of all, and that is how you will serve and how you will show up. So don't get too worried about conflict that, some people aren't going to like your shine. Some people don't like bright things. Don't worry, keep shining. And if your destiny number is 11, again, 11 is the command center. It's your flexible consciousness. It's your ability to really step into any of the 10 bodies at any time and use them for the highest good of all. It is uniting the individual with the universal consciousness. And so you've come into this mastery through many lifetimes. And you're here to continue that on. So as you're expanding, just make sure that everything that you're expanding into is bringing the universal consciousness into access or accessibility for those who aren't quite there yet. And lastly, I said I touched on the number 22. 22 is kind of the master planner or executor. This number basically shows that you have like a super strong ability to see the full detailed outline of any idea from start to finish. You already know all of the steps and how to do them. You're a master planner, builder, architect. And so yes, you're a 4, meaning that as you're expanding into all of the things you're putting out, you want to make sure that you're stepping back and seeing it from a neutral perspective, but you're also going to be able to see all the steps. So it's a pretty powerful number. No number is better than any others. We are all here for specific purposes, and that is to lift and elevate the energy in our particular way. And they're all beautiful and they're all necessary. So don't get worked up about what number is in your destiny position. This is an awesome gift. I have the negative mind, you guys. So that if any of the numbers are going to be looked at as a bad number, that would be it, just because negative has a bad connotation, but it's not. It's a very advanced, I mean, it's just like this advanced way of living if you can really step into whatever number is in your map and whatever area. All right? So these are the numbers that you want to pay attention to when you're in expansion stage. But again, we have all 10 bodies. And that's why in Club LC we work on all 10 bodies and the command center and self-care, because we all need a little more of that. And Club LC is open again from December 25th until January 1st at founder's price for the last time. That's $19 per month to build each of these 10 bodies and the command center to step into your fullness and to your leadership and to your strength and power, so you can stay in for as long or short as you want. The moment you join, you have access to decoding your own life purpose map, decoding your own birthday, and getting those numbers figured out for yourself so you know where to focus in each of these aspects. You also get $100 off a life purpose map full package with me. So that means I'll create your map using information and knowledge and intuition. And then we have 2 sessions, one 60-minute to go over the whole thing, to just make sure you really understand, and then to give you tasks to do, exercises to do, to start to empower the places that are going to be most beneficial for you right now as you continue forward on your spiral. And then we have a 30-minute follow-up face-to-face, again on Zoom, to make sure you got it. And you're in Club LC. Now, if you're not sure you want to join Club LC, but you really want a map, you can pay full price and get 3 months free in Club LC to just try it out. You get everything else with the map. It's an amazing deal. And I've put this together in a way that no one else has. No one has simplified numerology in the way that I have. It is a complex system, but it doesn't have to be so complex that you can't take action. Most numerology readings, you get information and it's helpful and it's confirming, but you can't really do anything with it. With these life purpose maps, there are actionable steps literally instantly. It's awesome. And lives change very quickly using the tools that are used for these maps, which is Kundalini Yoga. So these are opportunities for you to really step into your shine, to step into being the leader that you are and radiating out you. How awesome is that? The world needs you. And I love to do this and I love to share this. So once again, a few opportunities. Join the Empowered Leaders Circle on Facebook. Just look it up. Get your life purpose map. Join Club LC. Keep shining. The world needs you. I love you. Satnam.